Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mondongo and we're back again with another video. I just want to say I'm sorry it's been too long. It's it's been too long. I'm in the process of moving and it's just crazy, it's chaotic when you're moving out, when you're packing, ready to move out, So in this room where I do the reviews, this room is like my second room, and I created it as a library. So there's tons and tons of books behind me, on the table, on the floor, you name it. There's just books everywhere. And so, I just want to apologize because we're in the process of moving out, and I haven't been able to upload because of that. It's like I said, moving out is not easy, and we're just in the process of that. But we're here again. Thank you again. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking the videos. It shows a lot. And thank you to our new subscriber, Oscar Homegard. Hopefully I said that right. Oscar Homegard. You guys know what to do in this channel. Go give them some love. Go give them love. Show support, and that's what this channel is all about. Supporting one another. So, without further ado, thank you again, Mr. Oscar Homegard. But without further ado, we have here Barefoot Gen, or Gen. I want to say Gen. I seen a lot of reviews. I seen people talking about it, and I picked up this book. Wow, you owe it to yourself to go buy this book. Go buy it. Go pick it up. It's based on the attack of Hiroshima, the bombing of Hiroshima. So go check it out. It's 10 volumes. This is the first volume, but there are 10 volumes, and I will be picking all of the volumes. I already had 3 volumes with me. The rest are in the comic shop. I just have to go buy them. I had to go pick them up, but they're there waiting for me. And let's go on to the credits. So this is Barefoot Gen, Volume 1. This is a cartoon history of Hiroshima. And Barefoot Gen is, so like I said, Volume 1 by Mr. Keiji Nakazawa, published by The Last Gasp of San Francisco. And wow, this story is amazing. This book is amazing. So this is a graphic novel. It's a biography, but they turn it into a graphic novel. Let me show you the art real quick. So see, pretty good detailed, if I say so myself. So pretty good detail, but this story is about a dad and his wife with the kids. So let's get on to the review. And I wish I would have taken notes, but I took notes here and there. I didn't take notes like I normally do. This was, it was fast paced. It was a graphic novels. You know how they are, so that they're fast paced. And there was no stop in between, so I just had to continue reading it until I finally finished it. So this is a story about Jen, this kid that turns any situation into courage and humor. So what it is, in Japan, the culture over there is different. So back then, when they were doing the bombing of Hiroshima, they were telling all the people, all the civilians that live in Japan or in Hiroshima, it was about 400,000 people that lived there. And basically, when we were at war with them, I'm not saying war, war is bad. War has been with us since the beginning of time. It's biblical. It's in the Bible, and it will remain here. We got World War I. We had so many wars. So, anyways, the attack of Hiroshima, there are 8,000 people, and everyone was they were obligated to sign in. Everyone was forced to, different rules, different what do you call it, dictator, different president, whatever it may be, but different laws out there. And so everyone was forced to join. So everyone joins. Jen has his older brother, or before we get to that, so Jen and his family, they go through a lot because the dad doesn't believe in war. He believes in peace, and he doesn't like the idea of us fighting. He says we're not meant to be here to fight one another. So the dad has a whole different perspective on war, and he builds weapons for the Navy, or he builds weapons for the military, but the military is still forcing him to join the army or the military, and they're forcing him, his family, to join. Well, basically all the males to join and fight for Japan. Fight for the emperor, fight for their ruler, their king, basically. And the dad says, no, I'm not going to join. I'm not going to join. I can do whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. So he goes, he becomes a rebel, quote unquote. He becomes a rebel, and the government doesn't like that. They start chasing him. They start beating him. They start doing a whole bunch of things. They start stealing their crops. Their hard work goes to the crops. That's how they live. It tells you right there in the first page that I showed you. That's how they live. They make a living out of the crops. And as you can see, here's the dad with the two boys, Shinji and Jen. And, they make a living off of that. But the government doesn't respect the dad. So the government comes and starts beating up the dad and starts taking advantage of everything. And it's so sad. This book is like, it's true event. It's a true event story. And, I love books like that tell you a true event story. And they take advantage of the dad. They start beating him up. They take his crops. Then they can't get the point, or they sent him to jail. So in that time that he was in jail, he was probably there for like, I don't know, a month or so. And the family had to learn how to survive without their dad. Jen, being himself, like I said, he takes any situation into humor and courage. So he takes his humor of his dad being in jail, he takes it into humor, and he becomes basically the dad. He's not the oldest child or the oldest kid, but he takes initiative, and he takes one step forward, and he says, I'm here, I'm gonna provide for my family, so I'm gonna do this for my family. And they release the dad after a while. But then they still don't get the message across. And the dad is saying, no, I don't like war. I'm not joining, blah, blah, blah. My kids are not joining, blah, blah, blah. And so, it goes on and on and on. But the government finds other ways to mess with this family. And they basically take it to their own hands, that they get the sister involved. The only sister, the only female that they have in the family. And so there's a mom and the sister, but she's already of the age that she's grown. So she's not a little girl. So she's already like a young lady. And so they get the sister. They tell them that the family is dishonorable, that the family should die, and they don't have anything for them. Basically, the government does not want to help them out. They exclude them from everything. When they're selling their crops, they just don't buy from them, or they tell the city not to buy from them. They tell the city not to be friends with them, and the list goes on. So they're outcasts. They're thrown to be outcasts. The governor or the government comes in. They start taking advantage to the whole family, and they grab the sister, Jen's sister. She's in school. They grab her and they start stripping her down. They start stripping her down to the point that, she's like showing off her body in front of class. And she's crying. She comes out. She tells everyone, or she tells the family. And Gen is the first one to know, so Gen takes matters into his own hands. And he goes and he tries to be the hero. He tries to fight. It seems like the mayor, because the mayor was living there next to them, or whatever it may be. But so they fight. Well, he fights along that guy, and what does the guy do? He gets the dad, puts him back in jail, and that is the only way they can get. They try to break down Gen, but Gen doesn't. He doesn't take any crap from anybody. So he's a tough little kid. And he continues to fight the good fight, but the government is just like dishonoring the family. So his older brother, let me get the name. His older brother, Koji, he tells the family that he wants to join the Navy because it will bring honor to the family. The dad goes crazy. He's like, no, you're not joining anything. You're not here to fight. Why are you doing this? We can do this without them. And he gives up. And Koji thinks that he's a hero by joining the Navy. But in my eyes, the dad was a hero for standing his ground and not joining the military when the going was tough. Nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted to be friends with him, because if they were friends with him, then they would get punished as well. So it takes a lot of courage. And the dad said, no, you're not joining, blah, blah, blah. So Koji, like, I need to bring honor to the family. So he joins the Navy. He disobeys his father, joins the Navy, and while in the military, he learns so many cruel things that the Navy does. For example, there was this friend of his that had died, or not. Well, this is what happened. So the friend was being a hero. So he was already fed up with the Navy. He was already fed up with the military and the way Japan was doing things. And he tells his story. And Koichi is there listening, taking it all in. He's taking all the information in. And the friend, I don't know what happens, but he's drunk. So he's telling the stories, and he's ventilating. People find out that he's telling the stories, and they don't like that. So what they do is they start beating him up and telling him to shut up, to keep his mouth shut, to not say a word. And the friend just continues. He gets, I don't think he's back to normal. So he's, the drunkenness has calmed down, so he's back to normal. And he starts spitting out more information. He starts becoming a whistleblower, basically. And they tell him to shut up. They beat him up. They tell him to shut up. He's like, no, you guys are injustice, blah, blah, blah. He gets beat up to the point that he commits suicide, that he can't stand it anymore. And the government or the military starts to cover it up. And this is where Koichi sees the true colors of the military. And so they cover it up. They tell the family. They tell the family that he has passed away a heroic way. And the family is just there eating it up. And Koichi's like, no, that wasn't it. He committed suicide because they were beating him up because they didn't want him to tell the truth. And so they don't believe him. The family's like, no, you're crazy. Why? My son joined the military to die for this country, to die for the emperor, blah, 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 whatever, right? And he says, no, that's not the truth. So they don't believe him. And Koichi is there, just seeing the true colors of the military. And he regrets joining the military. So he becomes like a rebel inside the military. He's like, why did I join it? Why did I join the military? Why did I do this? Blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that. And it was a sad story. I'm telling you, it's a pretty good story. So I'm telling you, go pick up this book now that it's. I believe they're in reprinting it. Excuse me. I believe they're reprinting it because I never seen it before, and 10 volumes in. I have up to the third volume with me, so I'll be reading that, reviewing it, and putting it up on the channel. So the bomb comes and it lands in Hiroshima. Like I said, there's 400,000 people in that town alone. So the bomb comes, it lands where it needs to land. Iku, Shingi, and Papa and Jen's Papa were all trapped in their house, surrounded by the fire. So you see in the background, the house is just demolished or destroyed, and they're just stuck. They're stuck there. They can't do anything. All the materials is just being concocted onto their bodies, and it's terrible. So the mother and Jan, they're looking at their family being burned alive. They're being burned alive. Jan is crying out to the people, please help me, please help me. Nobody helps them out, because they're hurting. They're hurting from this attack as well. So they're trying to recover on their own. And Jan, he helps the mayor that gives him a whole bunch of grief throughout this whole book. He helps him out. He sees him under the rubble, and he picks him up. He picks up the wood and helps him out. And the mayor, he just runs away, and he doesn't help out Jen. And he sees his family. He sees his family being destroyed, and he just laughs about it. He doesn't do anything. He just stands in the background, not caring. And so Jen and the mother are forced to watch the family being burned alive. Mr. Pak, a Korean that no one likes. So like I said, they couldn't have friends. This family, they couldn't have friends because they were outcasts. But Mr. Pak, he was a Korean, and he was real close to the family. Because, if you know your history, the history is Japan and Koreans, they didn't like each other. And I don't know the whole story, but they didn't like each other. But apparently Mr. Pak, or, some Koreans came to Japan, but they still didn't like it. The Japanese people consider the Koreans as an outcast as well. So Mr. Pog, he just remained loyal to the family, and he's there helping out the mother and Jan. And after the attack, the mother goes into labor. She has the baby, so she goes into labor, and they can't find a midwife. So Jan is out there screaming to everyone, we need a midwife, we need a midwife, and they can't find it. And so he has to deliver the baby, and he's like, I can't do it. The mother says, you are brave, you have been through a lot, please, I need you. So it's just there, both of them, the mother and Jan, delivering the baby. And he delivers the baby. It's a baby girl. Excuse me, it's a baby girl. So let me show you real quick. But like I said, there's 10 volumes of this, so this is not the end. They did like a Lion King thing. So here's a baby, and she's raising him up in the air and saying, you will not do, when you grow up, you must never ever let this happen again. And so she's there crying. Excuse me. So this is, a pretty good story, a pretty good autobiography, and 10 volumes of this book. So I'm telling you, go pick it up while it's out now, because once it's out, I don't think it's coming back. So go pick it up. You owe it to yourselves. Excuse me. And this book has been translated into so many different languages. We have in the back of the book, I think it said it was translated to French, German, Italian, Portuguese, Swedish, Norwegian, Indonesian, Tagalog, and Esperanto. But this book was meant to be read. This book was meant to be given to people. So like I said, go pick it up. It was only $14.95. It only says American or US. I don't know how much euros or Canadian, but it's $14.95 US, and it's it's a wonderful. It's a sad story. It's a sad story, but it's a wonderful, well-written story. And thank you for Mr. Keiji Nakazawa. And once again, thank you for Mr. Oscar Home Guard. Your comment really hit home. Most of the time, like, I upload and I'm like, man, I don't know why I'm uploading these videos. Nobody's watching it. I mean, I know people are watching it because, YouTube creator tells me, but if you guys are not leaving the comments, if you guys are not dropping a like, then, I just question myself, like, why am I doing these videos? But, I know why I'm doing them. I like to read, and so whatever I'm reading, I want to share with you guys, so you guys may be able to pick it up and go spend your hard-earned money on something that will bring knowledge to you. So many times we spend money on things that don't mean anything, but reading, if you take the time to read, it will take you places. It's a wonderful thing to read. I was not a reader before, and when I went to college recently, last year, I went back to college, and my professor challenged us to read. She said, the problem with us today is that we don't read. We just focus on too much on our social media, but we don't read to save us. And I took her challenge, and now you have to see. I'm gonna do a video one of these days and show you my library. So it's big. There's books everywhere. It just drives my wife crazy, but I love reading. She doesn't like reading, and it is what it is. But like I said, I'm sorry for being late. It's just we're in the process of moving, and she told me it's time for you to pack all your books, and I said, no, don't touch my books, leave them there. And so they're scattered everywhere right now. It's just crazy. They're scattered everywhere. It's a mess here. But little by little, I'm reading something. I don't stop reading. I just continue to read. But thank you guys again for stopping by, and I'll catch you on the next one.